This week, we'll explore an entire theme park dedicated to the history and adventure of medieval times. Find a fairy tale castle for families in the Loire Valley, and discover outdoor fun in the City of Light.
We're a real Texas family discovering our world, one destination at a time. I'm Delaney. Culture and history are my specialties. What's the German word for?
I'm Nikki, and I bring the fun.
This is Paris! It's a clue!
And I'm their mom, Jeannie, with trip tips for parents.
I think it's time for some adult flavors.
We explore around the globe and in our own Texas backyard to help families make culture and history their story.
Get out your bucket list. We're going on a road trip through France for a French Revolution of fun.
We take an overnight flight from Houston and wake up 3 hours southwest of Paris in the castle-filled hills of the Loire Valley. And the Grand Parc, Puy de Fou. The park welcomes over 1 million visitors a year, and it's easy to see why. Like Texans, the French don't do anything small, especially when it comes to reenacting famous historical events. This adventure will take you on an intense trip through history for your eyes and ears and have your heart beating like crazy. Puy de Fou's reputation for bringing history back to life is legendary. Through dramatic storytelling, intense pyrotechnics, incredible animals, and sweeping music, you'll feel like you're right in the middle of all the history. Ready to go? Here's Puy de Fou from a kid's eye view.
It's time to get medieval.
When you first get to the park, it's tough to know where to look first. There are giant balloons mysteriously floating overhead, and a real medieval village. There are giant French frogs that talk as you walk by. And singing statues. It's a park in the true sense. Venues are separated by wooded paths, and walking from show to show feels a bit like a treasure hunt. We check the signs for our first performance, just in time for Triumph's sign. Circus games just like in a medieval Roman city with an angry emperor. Gladiator battles. And chariot races just like these. This lion isn't really interested in letting his prisoner go. Just like in ancient times, the crowd will decide if he lives or dies. It's as if we woke up in ancient Rome. Our next show was filled with water and fire as we were witnesses to the Vikings. The village seemed pretty peaceful when we first sat down. The knight marries the maiden, and they ride off into the sunset. Until the Vikings arrive. In grand style and take over the village. Animals and people are fleeing. The village goes up in flames and all seems lost. Until their king arrives to save the day. Crazy, right? But that's history.
Some performances at Puy de Fou are high action and small children might get scared. But big kids and parents will be wowed at the grand scale and special effects, and the crowd really gets into it. You won't want to miss out on Puy de Fou's 2 famous nighttime shows, which sell out months in advance and have a cast of over 1,200 actors. You'll see what we mean when we say there's no other place like Puy de Fou in the world, and you have to see it for yourself. Here's a look at Cinecine and the Organs of Fire. Hold on to your seat. For more information on Puy de Fou and to see photos from our adventure, visit our website at kidseyeview.com.
We're a real Texas family exploring our world, one road trip at a time. If there's a city, a beach, or a country road, Kids Eye View is going to explore it.
Once you get to the top and you're with the birds, the view is beautiful.
Let's get food trucking.
We're not dead yet! We're not dead yet!
Kids can do anything.
Kids Eye View is driven by Land Rover Houston Central. Where will your Land Rover take you next?
Next up, we're traveling through one of the most beautiful parts of France, the Loire Valley. Through fields of sunflowers, we hang a right at the fresh wheat fields, and we've arrived. Welcome to Chateau du Rivaux. The castle was built in 1420 and comes straight out of a fairy tale with an imposing keep and beautiful gardens filled with fairy tale creatures. In addition to the castle, their stables are famous for producing royal stallions, and there's a great restaurant where you can sample fresh fare straight from the castle gardens. Let's grab the camera and peek inside the castle for a kid's eye view.
Whoa, that's a lot of animals. Hold on, something's not right. Did you see that? It's a bunny butt. That gives a new meaning to the term stuffed animal. The castle's owners must have a great sense of humor. Oh dear. It's one big treasure hunt for the weird and wonderful. Chateau du Rivaux figures into the real-life story of Joan of Arc. Just 17 years old in the year 1429, she came to the castle in search of its famous war horses for her journey to escort King Charles to the throne. Surrounding the castle, there are 14 gardens with legends from famous stories. Fairies, elves, and even ogres invite your imagination to wander the property in search of your favorite fairy tales. We found Sleeping Beauty's tower, the Cage of Love with two very affectionate birds, the Peacock's Mirrors meant for the chateau's resident peacocks to gaze at themselves, Le Chemin de Fée, or the Path of Fairies marked by the paw of a giant. He also left his boots on the way to the castle. If there's one thing kids love, it's chasing each other in the garden labyrinth. Take a deep breath and come on in.
Chateau du Rivaux has a lot more to discover. It's one of the few chateaux on the Loire that speaks kids' language. To find out more about the chateau and see photos of what we found, visit our website at kidseyeview.com. We drive back into Paris with just a few days to check out what it's like to live like a local before we catch our flight home. Look out, Paris, here we come.
Hello, Paris. We can't wait to discover what it's like to live like a local, play in your parks, and try your famous food. A little rain? No problem. We're from Texas, and we go big or we go home.
Paris is a rainy city, but the Eiffel Tower still sparkles, and the parks are still stunning.
This is Paris!
We don't let la pluie, the French word for rain, stop us. Paris is at its most beautiful when all the tourists have been chased inside the museums and we can enjoy the parks all to ourselves.
This is Paris!
Most hotels only allow 2 people in a room. Rent an apartment and live like a local.
We head downstairs to find breakfast. In Paris, there's a street market every day with fresh fruit and vegetables, a fromagère for all different kinds of cheese, a pâtisserie for fresh bread and pastries, a poissonnière to help us select fresh fish for dinner, and pretty much anything else you can imagine.
Just like at home, it's much less expensive to eat fresh fare from a market. Most Parisians shop these markets daily, and they're a great way to get a taste for the local food and some fun people watching. Cafes in Paris are expensive and they cost you in sightseeing time. The service is notoriously slow. Pack a shopping bag, hit the market, and shop for a picnic in the park.
We're gonna figure out what this is.
This is where the locals shop, so the prices are fair. You're in for a delicious meal, just like a Parisian.
I love cherries. We even managed to pick up a Parisian pooch named Pierre from a nice lady who was ready to take a break. It's time to hop on the metro and get out there. The Tuileries Gardens have something for everyone. A little peace and quiet, great playgrounds to burn off some energy, the famous Ferris wheel, some carousel action for kids of all ages, and lots of room to enjoy your afternoon in Paris. On the far end of the park, you can stroll through the majestic gates to the pyramid entrance to the Louvre and enjoy the park's many gardens. Time for a foodie tour of Paris. First stop, Rue Claire. Even in the rain, Rue Claire is lovely, famous for its little shops that line the street, making it feel like you're in a tiny village. You can find it all here. Pastries and macaroons in every flavor you can imagine. Oh, meringue! I love how it looks like a big sweet puffball. A stop at Proluce is a must. Just look for the giant eclair and cream puff outside.
It's very famous. It's okay?
A praline is a sweet cake made with brioche and sugared pralines. We have to have one. We head over to one of the most interesting neighborhoods in Paris, Le Marais. It's on the right bank of the Seine. It's home to many art galleries and one very famous school for cake decorating, Briochine. We have to stop at Las du Falafel for a Middle Eastern treat.
Hi, welcome to Las du Falafel, the best falafel in the world.
Get the special. What exactly is the special?
You have red and white cabbage, cucumber, tomato, eggplant fried, hummus and trina.
So what did you think about the falafel?
I thought it was wonderfully delicious.
Awesome. Great place.
Now that we filled up on falafel, it's off to discover another one of Paris's best parks. The Luxembourg Garden is an oasis in the city with something for everyone. Starting with relaxing and enjoying the fact that you're in Paris. Saint Genevieve welcomes you to the park. She is the patron saint of Paris. She's often holding a loaf of bread, since she was known to be very generous to those in need. The French have a way of making their public spaces look elegant and fun at the same time. Look at this cone carefully. This is a statue under repair. Even the protective cover looks like a piece of art. You can even commandeer a boat in the pond. Take a pony ride for the kids. Or play chess with some friends. And play some boule with the locals. It's a relaxing game where the players toss a metal ball and try to get closest to a smaller ball in the sand. Or ride the zip line. Charming Saint-Germain-des-Prés is just around the corner, with winding streets, historic churches, and cafes where writers like Fitzgerald and Hemingway wrote their famous books. Our tour of Paris would not be complete without one of our favorite places, Ile Saint-Louis. It's one of the two natural islands right in the middle of the Seine. Ile Saint-Louis has only narrow one-way streets and no metro stop. Remember we said Parisians shop for fresh food daily? Yep, those are chickens. Ready to take home and pop in the oven for dinner. It's time for a stop at one of the best ice cream shops in the world, Berthion. The second island in the Seine, Ile de la Cité, is where you'll find Notre Dame. Our last stop is a hill in the north of Paris, Montmartre, on the right bank of the Seine. Its most famous spot is the Basilica of Sacré-Cœur, which sits majestically on the top of the hill.
Watch out for pickpockets here. Stay aware and don't talk to friendly strangers.
After you see the church, you can wander the picturesque streets. This is where famous artists like Picasso and Renoir lived and worked. Take a peek at the historic cabarets like the Lapin Agile that made Montmartre one of the most colorful places in Paris. Like a cool breeze, Paris is full of surprises. It's not everywhere you see a random white horse having lunch on a little patch of grass. Paris can throw you a few of its own surprises, like rainy weather and a chill in the air, even in the summer. We always look at the big, puffy pink side. Paris is most beautiful when the tourists have been chased inside and there's room for us to run around and just be little Americans in Paris.
Going to the dentist is fun when you visit Houston Pediatric Dental Specialists. Doctors Regina Lewis and Julie Longoria welcome kids of all ages into their interactive office. They'll help your little tiger keep their mouth healthy and learn about taking care of their teeth in an atmosphere of fun. Make an appointment at one of Houston Pediatric Dental Specialists' 5 locations in Houston and get ready to experience your own Smiles Gone Wild. Kids Eye View is all about real world and real fun. We want to hear from you. What's on your travel bucket list?
I just want to go to Denmark because then I can visit the Tivoli Gardens and see all the really cool architecture they have there.
We haven't been there, but I hear it's beautiful. Can we go with you? We don't need a lot, and we're quiet.
Hey Zach, what's on your bucket list?
Definitely Greece and Rome.
You're gonna love one of our upcoming shows. Who's your favorite Greek god?
Poseidon.
Oh, you must be a swimmer.
Yeah.
What's on your bucket list, Valerie?
I want to go to Paris.
I hope we gave you some good tips on seeing the real Paris. What's your favorite French food?
Everything.
Brayden, where would you want to go?
I would go to Germany because when I studied Germany in World War II, I noticed there was a plane called the Dornier X, which is also my last name.
Do you know how to say aircraft in German?
Flugzeug.
Yes.
Where in the world is Kids Eye View going next?